What's up, guys? How's everybody doing? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another episode of Yakin with Yukon. How you guys doing? Good to see you. Let's get to a couple of people who have rolled in so far. I hope nobody's watching the Super Bowl. Okay, I was talking to Kenobi in the background. I don't need to see Taylor Swift that much. I don't care who wins. That's why we're doing this. So, if you want to watch it in the background, fine. But this is more must see TV, I think. So let's get it going. EC Collective, what's up, Colin? Good to see you, buddy. Got Mr. B. How's it going? Got Zombie Hunter. Good to see you. And we got Ultra Cardazilla. So good to see you guys. All right, awesome guest tonight. You guys know him. Everybody knows him. I've been calling him the golden voice of YouTube, which is true. I'm gonna have to tell. He's gonna have to say the chat's on fire for me. I can't do it like him. But Jose from General Kenobi's Bunker is the guest tonight. So very excited. And I was telling him in the back, it's been probably over a year since he's been on. So we got some catching up to do. I mean, him and I talk every once in a while, but it'll be good to know what he's thinking, what he's got planned for the channel for this year, and we'll kind of. Oh, jeez, there he is. What's up, buddy? Good to see you, Carlos. Good to show you. I didn't think you'd show up, man. The Super Bowl's on. You usually give me the whole, football's on, so I can't come on the show. Runny Roughshot, what's up, man? Good to have you. All right, so let's do it. Let's bring in General Kenobi and get this thing rolling. What's up, buddy?
Hello there.
How you doing, man?
How's everybody doing tonight?
Doing good, man. Doing good.
Thank you for the invite.
Absolutely, buddy. Absolutely. Sorry about the short notice.
That's all right.
But, I
Sometimes that works out better, to be honest with you.
I got that short list of people who are like, you know what? I think if I ask them, they'll be good. And you're on that list, buddy.
Hey, appreciate that.
Yeah.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me on. Like you said, it's been a minute. It's been a minute. We were talking about it right now in the green room. And yeah, it's kind of funny, right? Like you blink and a year is gone.
I know.
So yeah, it's been a minute since I've been here a guest. So thank you. I appreciate again the invite. And let me just go ahead and say that I appreciate everybody here on the chat. Choosing us over a skimpily dressed artist for during halftime. But hey, I think we're a little bit more fun than that. So
let's see how it goes. So. I mean, right now, so I'm sure we'll get updates. Not that you or I care, because we already talked about that we don't care. Yeah. So it's like 10-0 San Fran. So.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
So the funny thing is, the last time you were on the show, you were in a totally different house, in a totally different room.
Very much so.
If you want to tell us about that, I mean, your room looks great, man. You got a huge backdrop there. How was the transition going from one place to another, and how was it getting the collection there safely?
Yeah, so it's funny you say that, because I feel that I'm still not done. It's been a few months, of course, now, and if you follow the channel, and if not, no worries, but you should. Just kidding. Sure. We moved. I guess officially we moved, I think September of last year, right here into this new house. And I've been trickling in, stuff here and there to bring it over to a new bunker. There was a lot of work done here in the room. Sure. To basically get it up to what I want it to be. But I literally do, like, I'm not even kidding, like this weekend, like 2 days ago, I finished building like a couple other like bookshelves to put stuff on. So like I said, it's still kind of ongoing, and I know that sounds ridiculous, but it's just kind of the way it is.
Yeah.
I've redone this room in my head like 15 different times, so it was different and challenging because I have a lot of stuff. Okay. And that's not a flex. That's more of like step one of admitting you have a problem,
Right.
And so even though this is a bigger space, considerably bigger actually than the previous room, it's still just plain and simple not enough, so it's just and I honestly, it's like they say, right, it's never enough. So it's been a little bit of a shift in how I approached the room setup, because I really wanted to show off, properly as much as I could, right? So I'm glad I set up that wall behind. That was the first thing I sort of decided on how to do it, because that's obviously my main backdrop now, for videos and stuff. And so I kind of wanted to get that wrapped up as fast as I could. And then it's been slowly sort of getting to the rest of the room. um, excuse me. But no, it was good. The one that had me like worried was the freaking details, like coming
Oh
up the
yeah.
stairs and
Oh
stuff
yeah.
like that.
Yep.
Oh my lord, like I was a wreck with those. But basically had to got them, get all the intermediate, piece of glass. I have lighting on them, so I had to unhook everything, undo the routing that it took me forever to do, like for the wires and stuff.
Yeah.
So that part wasn't fun, but no, they all made it here good. The guys, the movers, they did great with moving the main bodies, and yeah, of course, I had to put everything back together. But once they were done, that's hopefully that's it for a while.
Nice.
But yeah, like I said, it's sort of still kind of going. There's you see, like, I guess, two walls of the room, right? The other two walls are like, it looks like a bomb went off. So
Well, then
that's
you
why
got
I
like a
keep
little
them.
closet too, don't you? Don't you have a little closet
Yeah.
where you got a bunch
So
of stuff in there? Yeah.
exactly. So I was gonna say that's kind of my I don't want to say like overspill, because here's my mentality. So the main room, obviously, all here around me, it's Star Wars, right? Because that's my main love. But I'm actually trying to do so in that closet when we bought the house, there was a ton of shelves already installed.
Mm,
So I was like, you know what? It's actually going to be a lot more work to take all of those down than for me to just use them, right?
yeah.
So in there, what I've been doing is I've been putting up basically other collections or mini collections that I have that are non Star Wars, So I got a hodgepodge of stuff in there. Anything from, I got Exo Squad, I got Battlestar Galactica, got a little bit of Godzilla, I got Marvel, like all of that stuff. I kind of try to put it up there. Um, so it's like my like secondary, mini, super super mini
Like you
toy.
said, overflow. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. But
Exactly.
so it's helped me a lot, to be honest, because it's helped me focus a little bit.
Yeah.
Again, on you know how it goes. We've all gone through it, right? I'm like, oh man, this looks cool. Like, I'm just gonna buy it, and it's not Star Wars. It's not, even in my main lines that I collect. It just looks cool, or it's cheap, and I'll pick it up. And now I'm like, I flat out don't have space for it. So even though if it's, I don't know, $5-6, if it's not something that sort of lines up with what's there already,
Yep. Yep.
then it's out. Like, I just won't pick it up.
Yep. Yep.
um so yeah, long-winded answer to say that I am lazy and I haven't put all the stuff up. So
Well, when you were making the plans, was it mostly that you wanted when you were designing, okay?
sure.
So was it mostly for like live streams, or was the live stream kind of the secondary? So, you want a good backdrop
Right.
for your live streams and everything. Was that the main focus? Like, I want to have a really good backdrop, or was it just kind of, we'll do it and then whatever looks good, that's where we'll put the desk and we'll have the live stream
Right.
backdrop wherever it is.
Right. So I started off with saying, just, what, whatever looks good to me, right? Because obviously I'm the one that spends the most time here in this room. But my wife, again, a lot smarter than I am, she's like, well, you should really think about what people are gonna see through the camera also, right?
Yeah.
Like, so where are you gonna set up? If it's gonna be a corner, okay, what is that corner actually looking over? What's your backdrop? How how much of the room you actually want to show too, right? So we started thinking about maybe even angling the camera even further this way, so you would only see like a small portion of the background. um she even brought up, maybe having like a fake backdrop here, like one of those, I forget what you call them, but basically it's like it's like a foldable,
Yeah,
screen, right?
kind of what Flex has got. Flex has got one of those, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
Kind of like that, right?
yeah.
And just make it that my backdrop, like immediately here behind me, so you don't see the room. So we went through a couple of things actually, and like I said, I kind of wanted to make it to where it looks good to me. Like I said, I display the most amount that I can, but it also looks good on camera. So I would say first tier was something, my first priority was something that I could display as much as I could, making better space of the room, of the available space. But my second priority was to look good on camera, because I was like, you know what, after all is said and done, if I can't just like turn on the camera and go, like
Right,
have a
right,
minimal setup, like where I don't have to again drag a screen, or put up a fake digital background or something like that. Like, when if I don't have to do that, that's how I want to do it. I want to be able to kind of just turn on the camera and 30 seconds later I'm already recording, right? Like, so that was my mentality. I was like, you know what? It's however I do it. That's the goal, really. So
Nice, nice.
so far
Yeah,
I've done okay. There's still like small setup, like turn on the lights and like that kind of stuff, but that's normal. Um, Even my desk layout, I changed a little bit. The camera used to be different. If you remember, it was kind of more like on a top angle type of thing
yeah, yeah. You're like
because I had
mom
it.
now. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Because I had it on on its own like little tripod before. Now it's a little bit more centered. So again, it's just kind of things like that I really had to sort of change my way of thinking of, okay, I got this much space, how, like, sort of what's my best idea to be efficient with it, right?
right.
So it took me a while, and I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. No, I
It
mean, you
definitely
want it to
took me
look
a
good.
while.
If you're gonna do it, you want it to look good, and it's nice because you correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like it's just like a nice square. The room is.
Yes.
See, mine's kind of like where I've got this lawn strip, and I'm like, what the hell am I gonna do with this?
Yeah,
So it's just pick the part which you're the most about. You obviously
exactly.
Star Wars, and same with me. So it is challenging though because you want it to look
It
good.
is.
You don't want to look kind of amateurish, But man, it looks good. I like your
Exactly.
lights too. I like how your lights. So you can change those colors, right?
Yeah, we can. Where's my phone? And that was yet another thing because when we first got the house, all the light that was in this room, and like I said, technically it's a game room. That's what they call it. So it's a little
Mhm.
bit longer room than like a regular bedroom. Um, but all the light that was in the room was just a ceiling fan. That's it.
Oh
There
yeah,
was
yeah.
no other
That doesn't work.
lights.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then of course it was an old school fan. So anyway, the point is, it hanged. It was one of those like bulky ones, so it hanged down from the floor, from the ceiling. Sorry. And so I was like, no, that kind of has to go, and I want better lighting because, again, right, the way I used to do it before is just drag lamps around, and plug them into a corner, or try to have
Yeah.
an RGB light here and there. You know how it goes.
Oh yeah.
And so I was like, again, trying to make it a little bit simpler for me. So here we can change, the lights like that.
Nice.
Kind
Nice.
of
Yeah.
changed like different colors. I'm not fond of the yellow because to me it just looks like it's on like normal. But
Right. Right. Right.
yeah,
Get some more color
um,
in there. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So I always try to keep him, at least some color that's not very very often seen. But yeah, so we took down the ceiling fan, put up those lights, one in every corner, and that kind of covers the room pretty good. So
Nice man. Yeah. Like I said, it looks great. Looks awesome.
thanks, thanks,
Man.
thanks.
Love it. Man, Klex, what's up, buddy? Two celebrities. What's up, buddy? Good to
What's up,
have you here.
Chris?
This is Rennie Roughshot's wifey. I must really like you, Phil, and I really do if I'm watching you and waiting at the halftime show.
Hey, there you go.
Oh, thank you. I
I like
appreciate
that.
that.
Usher
I
and toys.
appreciate
Love
that.
it.
Janine, what's up, Janine? Good to
Hey.
have you here. Guys, definitely check out Rogue 5 Cantina after this great show. I'm going to let you on in a little secret. And I didn't tell anybody this, but I'm going to tell you because I thought it was you. So I was talking to Joe when they released the fifth member. I thought it was you, man. I was like, I think it's okay.
You
And
know
I
what the
was,
funny thing is?
I really did. I thought it was you, man.
No, and I appreciate that. That's a compliment in my mind because if you think that I'm good enough to hang out with all those guys, then I appreciate that. Um, but again, a little bit behind the scenes, um, a couple of people in the Rogue Five Cantina also thought that it was me.
Oh no, that's awesome.
So
Nice.
you were definitely not alone there.
I thought it was a pretty solid guess, just
Right,
knowing you and knowing, you and Joe are tight. So
right, right.
I figured, but
Oh yeah,
you know,
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
So
yeah. Well, it's
yeah, no,
funny though that comment actually got me to have them on this show because Joe's like, "Well, who do you think it is?" I'm like, "Well, I think it's Jose, man."
yeah,
He's like, I don't really know Brian, so I was
right,
like,
right.
I'm not sure. So the person I could think of the most that's ingrained into Star Wars the most is you.
Hey, I
So I
appreciate
mean,
that. Thank you.
yeah, man, absolutely,
Yeah, like I
absolutely,
said, so that's a compliment for me.
absolutely. What's up, Dave's Dementia? Good to have you here, buddy.
What's going on, Dave?
Good to see you. Speaking of Rogue Five, there's Brent.
There
What's good
you
to
go.
have you, man? What's up, Archer?
Hey,
Thank you, man.
hey,
Thanks for the super chat. Football conversations. You're not getting that, buddy. You're not getting that.
you are
It's good to
definitely in
have
the right spot.
you. Yep. I'm listening but watching the sporting event that's on. What sporting event's that on? Good to see you, Gary. Hope you're feeling good, man. Hope everything's good. Let's see who else we got in here. We got Rosa. Rosa, good to see you.
Hey, Rosa,
Rosa,
what's up?
yeah, she does great. There's Dan. What's up, Dana? My gosh, watching this better so much. See Taylor Swift every 3 seconds.
That's awesome.
Oh man, good stuff, good stuff. My wife designed most of my layout.
There you
He
go.
supplied it, but she's smarter than I am.
Nope.
He's
Yeah.
so lucky because he has his own shed, man.
Yes.
I'm
Yes,
like,
he has like a, what would you call that? Like a little studio, little
yeah,
apartment type of thing,
yeah,
going on just for his
yeah.
collection. Dude, and I don't know how he does it, but every time I check in on his that last portion of his video where he's just kind of talking
Mhm.
to the camera and he's got his backdrop, dude, I swear there's more figures on that backdrop. Like
Every time.
somehow
Yep.
he still cramming stuff in there. I'm like,
He's
dude,
got like all the boxes this way, then
dude,
he's got some up here and
exactly.
second up there.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, teach me because I
Right?
don't know how you keep, the same amount of area and yet you keep cramming figures into it.
It's
It's kind
true.
of impressive, not gonna lie.
He was telling me one day that he needed another shed. He's gonna like add on
Oh,
another
I
shed
bet.
to it. I'm like,
I'll believe it.
you got a problem, dude.
Plus, the way he finds, the rate that he finds stuff, like
Oh
it's
man,
just
it's crazy.
ridiculous. So,
I wish I could find stuff like him
same.
and like Havoc, and yeah, I just can't. Legacy in there. What's up, Daniel? Daniel's gonna be on in 2 weeks.
Oh, awesome. Yeah.
So I'm
What's
very
going on,
excited to
brother?
have him back on. You talk about a guy that's killing it. Geez, Mr. Interview every celebrity known to Power Rangers ever made. Crazy stuff, man. Love it. Yeah, Jose, good to have you here.
Hey, what's up, brother?
Thanks, buddy.
Oh, snap.
Brett, good to have you here, man. Appreciate that. All
Thanks,
right.
Brett. Appreciate that.
All right, man. So let's talk about last year a little bit.
Sure.
Kind of a rough year for Star Wars, obviously. I mean,
Yeah.
we had our highs and our lows. Give me what you think was the highest point and give me what you think the lowest point was for
Mm.
2023 in Star Wars.
Uh, I don't know, man. It's kind of tough. We had, like you said, right? We had very, very high hopes for Mando season 3, right?
Mhm.
It's kind of funny because not a whole lot of people talk about Mando season 3 anymore, right?
It's like, let's
Uh,
just not
and
talk
it's
about that.
exactly, it's like, you know what? We got through it somehow.
Right,
Let's just
right,
move
right.
on, right? Which to me, again, and you and I talked about it back
Mhm,
then.
mhm.
To me, that is sad because if you remember, Mandalorian, was the Star Wars, right?
The show.
For
Yep.
a couple of years, right?
Right.
Maybe more than that. So 2 seasons, amazing, right? Everybody's raving about it. Everybody's saying, "Hey, this is what's gonna save Star Wars," right?
Mhm.
Season 3 rolls around, and everybody's like, "Did they fire everybody involved in the other 2 seasons and just gave this to whole new people that didn't watch those 2 seasons? Like,
Right.
what's
Right.
going on?" Again, I'm not gonna bash. Not everything was bad. There was some really good stuff in there, right? But it was more like sprinkled in here and there, like every other episode or so. Whereas before, I felt that pretty much every episode was pretty solid, right? Um, so I think season 3 Mando was a letdown, right? To say the least. You and I talked about at the time when
Yep.
the season finale came up, right, or when it ended. Everybody, the comment that I kept hearing from everybody was like, "Well, Ahsoka is coming up in October," and I'm like, "No, like that shouldn't be our mentality. It shouldn't be like, hey, well, we're gonna get something else soon, to wash
Yep.
away like the bad taste that it left in our mouth like season 3." So um yeah, it was just one of those things where they were doing so good, right? That it felt kind of bad when they missed a step and then they kept missing those steps. Um, Ahsoka, okay, Ahsoka was very popular. I think we all know that. Ahsoka was very popular. It did give us some stuff that we've been wanting to see in live action for a long time.
Mhm.
Um, and kudos because it looks beautiful. Like, but then again, we can say that about all the Disney Plus shows. Like, I don't think any of those really look bad. Like visually, like they
Right.
they they look great. Like they
No,
look
absolutely.
amazing.
Totally with you.
Um,
Yep.
yeah, exactly. It's just again, it's just kind of like the story, right? Like, yes, like I'm not I am never questioning the quality of visual effects. Like I know they're gonna deliver. What's up, Orlando, man?
Yeah. Sorry,
Um,
Orlando. What's up, buddy?
that's right. It's just kind of like, okay, what you kind of have to give me a good story, to go along with that. So it delivers that, that punch, that like, oh my lord, like this is amazing type of thing. Um, and Ahsoka didn't do it for me. I know that it did for a lot of people, and I'm
Yep.
glad. Like I kind of wish I was among I was amongst those, blown away by it and like super, satisfied by it, and that they were super super excited for it. I did like a lot of it, right? But at the same time, some of it was like, is that what we're doing now? Like, is
Yeah,
that the
yeah, it's true. It's true.
is that, how can I say it? Is that the route we're taking? Is that the solution to this one problem, et cetera, et cetera, right? So I don't know. I think everybody involved did a good job. Like the actors did great. Like I think acting
Yeah,
wise, everybody was very very good, very solid. Um, I found myself liking Balin more and more, which was sad because again, we're not gonna get that iteration right of the character
exactly.
anymore.
Exactly.
Um, but yeah, I think I don't know if I can say they're low points. It's like an overall feeling, right? That you're like, I can't get excited about it anymore, or not in the same way I could before. So that sentiment to me, that's kind of a low point for last year. Um, High point, believe it or not, what was that episode like 2 of Bad Batch, season 2, when they gave me back my man Cody. I
Oh
was
yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh, let's
yeah,
go. I
yeah.
am ready for this. I am all about this. And then he was gone.
Yeah, it's like real quick,
But
and then
exactly, he comes out, he does amazing that one episode, and then he's not even talked about, uh, the rest of the season. So I was like, okay, well, I enjoyed it a lot for that one episode,
yeah,
but I would have taken at least, one or two more, right? To
yeah.
sort of see where he was landing and stuff. So yeah, that's about it for me.
Yeah, I mean, a tough year, I think. Like you
Yeah,
said, you and I talked about Mando, and that was probably the most disappointed I've been in anything Star Wars in a long time. I
right.
mean, probably since like Last Jedi, you
Yeah,
know. So, and it's like, well, we were on such a good route and such a good
yeah,
following, and the storytelling was great. And it's like, what the hell happened? It was just weird. And then the Ahsoka thing, we were talking in the back. I still haven't watched all of Ahsoka. I've seen the
yeah,
clips and I've seen stuff, but again, I think it was a lot of the some people thought it was cool. Okay, well, those people think it's cool, so I think it's cool, and then
right.
it just kind of snowballed from there. I'm not saying it was bad, but
Yeah,
I mean,
like you
other than
said,
a few things, was it as good as
right.
everybody's saying? I don't know about that.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It was definitely the hype, right? The
Yeah.
hype definitely carried a lot of the weight of the show. And again, don't get me wrong, they delivered beautifully on some stuff, right?
Mhm.
But it's just other stuff that I kept bumping into that I'm like, I'm not, I'm just not. Uh, Maybe I'm too like fixated on stuff or focusing on the wrong things or something. But I just couldn't get on the hype train, like
Yeah.
most people did.
Yeah. 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 All right. Good question here.
Let's say.
General Kenobi's bunker. How would you feel if the Galactic Empire used T-800s? Because if you watch the Terminator, the police station proved why T-800s are more effective than stormtroopers.
That's awesome.
I
Well,
mean, yeah.
they now that you mention it, they I mean, didn't they kind of sort of gave us that on that one flashback in the Night of the Thousand Tears, with the all of the K2's droids,
Yeah, yeah.
blasting Mandos away. That was pretty Terminator like.
That
Like,
was Terminator like. Honestly,
yeah,
the Dark Troopers were kind of Terminator like
the
too.
Dark Troopers, yeah,
They were
the
very
Dark Troopers
much
were pretty
Terminator
good.
like.
Yeah,
The only one that
yeah,
could stop them
yeah, of
was
course.
Luke. Luke
Yep,
was the only one that could stop them. So man, I think they've kind of done that a little bit,
yeah,
but I mean, there's nothing wrong with we got crossovers for everything, so there's nothing
yeah.
wrong with a
Hey,
crossover. But
I'll take it. One of my favorite crossovers was Terminator with RoboCop, and that
yeah,
got pretty interesting.
yeah,
So
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. T-800 Terminators are more effective than Stormtroopers because, unlike the Stormtroopers, T-800s can take more damage, continue battling, perfect infiltrators. Again, I just think of Dark Troopers with that.
yeah,
Totally Dark Troopers. So, all right, man. Well, let's talk about your channel a little bit. You're
sure,
growing. You're growing rapidly, which
yeah.
is great to see, man.
Thank
How
you.
are things? Are you monetized now?
No,
What?
believe it or not, it's yeah, I know. So not to complain fully, but it is a little bit weird if I'm being honest.
That is weird.
So for the past 3 months, maybe a little bit more actually, my sub count has been increasing, right? Like
Mhm.
slow, but steady, like on an upwards trend, which hasn't happened, I don't think, since I opened the channel, honestly. Like, you know how it goes, right? There's like
Oh yeah, peaks
hills
and
and valleys,
valleys.
right? I
Yep.
mean, hills and valleys, but I think I haven't gone more than maybe 2 days without a new sub, which is, again, to me, that's unheard of, right, for my channel.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's good.
So that rate of growth, I can honestly say I've never experienced it, again, for such a steady, long period of time now. Because, like I said, it's been 3 months, maybe it's since like the end of November. I started noticing that I'm like, hey, we're picking up the numbers, and it just kind of keeps going, right?
Yep.
So, to that point, I checked this morning, and I'm just over 1900, which, again,
Nice.
it's kind of nuts. Um, but but the watch hours are just not being kind to me. And again, I'm not how can I say it? I don't want to presume that all of those 1900 subs are watching all the time, of course, right? Because
Definitely don't do because that's definitely not true.
yeah, exactly, because it's definitely not true, right?
Right.
But even if how can I say it? If when I had, I don't know, uh, maybe just over 1,000 or so, I feel that I was getting like about the same watch time as I am now. Uh, so anyway, bottom line is what I'm trying to say. It hasn't been quite proportional, right? The
Right.
the amount of subs to the amount of hours. And then, I think we're not alone in this. That YouTube sometimes, pretty often, actually, it seems to just punish you, man.
Yeah, for
Um,
and you don't even know what it's for. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's
And
weird.
so I was getting sort of kind of close, to what is it, the light monetization, I guess, the 3,000 hours. And then, yeah, man, within a couple weeks, I took like hard hits. Um, and right now I'm at what, just over like 2,300, dude. So
Oh wow.
it's still quite a bit away. I'm not gonna lie, right? Like, 700 hours is not a small amount. So yeah, it's kind of weird. Like I said, I don't know if I'm just not being pushed out there, or maybe like the videos that I'm making are not engaging people for a longer time, like that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Which
yeah.
definitely happens. So, but yeah, no. Bottom line, no, I'm not monetized yet. I'm still
I
kind of far
I
away from
thought
it.
you were. I thought you. I
Yeah,
mean, I was like, he's got 1,900. That's the kind of the mentality. Yeah, I
right.
was like, he's got 1,900 subs. He's
Yeah,
probably well on his way. At least, I thought you were at least at the 3,000. So I mean, that's
yeah,
crazy. That's crazy. I
yeah.
thought you were.
So
So guys,
yeah, it's
go watch his video. Give him some love, man. Go.
yeah. No, I
He's one of
appreciate
the
that.
best streamers. Next, you and this guy right here.
Yeah,
You're
no,
the best
but
streamer.
this guy,
What's up, buddy? Thanks for
talk
the super
about.
chat, man.
Yeah, appreciate you, Tony. What's going on, brother? But nah, man, talk about a freaking live stream machine, dude. Like,
He's a monster.
yeah, I'm pretty sure, one, he doesn't sleep.
You're
Two,
right.
I'm pretty sure he, like, inherited like a lot of money, and so he just like chills out. Like, he's got, he doesn't have like three jobs like we do.
Right.
Because, man, dude, like, I swear, I blink and he's on a live stream. Like,
I know
it,
it,
it
and
it
he's like
it's
on the
nuts.
mark with
Yes,
any new thing.
always,
He was on the mark with the Iwi.
always.
He was on the mark with the Empire thing. I'm like,
Yeah,
Tony, dude, how do
yeah,
you
I
do
know.
this?
Yeah, I was gonna say, you wanna know what's going on. You
Yeah,
just tap into Star
Star
Wars
Wars
Sith.
the
That's
thing.
it. You don't even have to go anywhere else, man. Like you said, he is on the money, every time, like all the time. He's so, yeah. He no, I
Totally.
I consider it a very, very tall order to even be put in a league even adjacent to this man, because yeah, he's kind of nuts.
I mean, he is the man. He's got it figured out, man. I
Yeah,
don't know, like
no
you said,
kidding.
I don't know how he does it. Okay, so you are a little ways away from being monetized. I mean, that is
Yeah.
still the end goal, right? That's still the end goal for you, where you want to get to that point, and then once that happens, where do you think the goal is after that?
So I've actually, it's funny you say that, because yeah, that used to be, like many of us, right?
Mhm.
That's a milestone, that's a goal. Um, that is, now I see it more of like a validation mark, right? Like, it's
Oh yeah.
it's
Mhm.
it's kind of telling you, hey, you're doing a good job.
Yeah, well,
uh,
yes, you're doing a
but
great job,
exactly.
even
So,
though you're not. Yeah.
now that I've been doing this, couple years, actually more than a couple years now, or just over 2 years. I'm like, you know what? like, yes, obviously it doesn't hurt to be monetized, and I still want to do it. Like, that is still something of a goal, especially within specifically in YouTube. But from the community that I've become a part of, both here on YouTube and now here a little bit more local, um, we're still doing good things. We're still moving along. We're still kind of getting more involved. I mean, once you talk to Daniel, you're gonna find out. I mean, that
Yeah,
man is in everything,
yeah,
right? And then so by us being sort of in the same group, like, some stuff has started to come up, some new opportunities, like working with some new people, like that kind of stuff, like a different level of access to some of the shows, like sort of all that stuff. And so that's also helped me to sort of shift, like I said, my mentality, and trying to put a little bit more of energy into that, right? Again, I'm not saying I don't want to be monetized. Of course I do, right? Like, who wouldn't? um but I think that's like, a secondary goal, let's call it, for now. So if it happens, awesome. Like I said, I'll definitely take it. Um, but to me, it's a little bit more of a symptom that maybe I need to start polishing, like, my videos a little bit more, or start trying out like a little bit different stuff. Because, like I said, if it's a symptom that people are not engaging that much with my videos, then again, that kind of means that I'm missing the mark with my audience, right?
right.
A little bit. So um, I'm trying to take it more like as like good feedback, like saying, hey, you're not quite there yet, right? Like, where you should be to sort of be, I guess, next level. So that's sort of the way I'm trying to rephrase it. But goal wise, like I said, we've been getting a lot more level of access on some of these shows.
Nice.
We've been getting to meet some of the promoters. We've been getting to moderate some of the panels at these conventions. So we actually go on stage, talking to the guests, whether it be an actor or a producer or whatever. And so that's been pretty fun. Definitely not something that I thought I was gonna be doing by no means.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I mean, who expects that?
exactly, right.
Way to
Like,
go.
you kind of always think that it's a little bit like unreachable, or a little bit like
Right.
not, not for you. But it's been fun, like I said. And yeah, so I can't wait for you to talk to Daniel, because, like I said, he's spearheading a bunch of stuff that
Well,
yeah,
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 but don't sell yourself short because I mentioned he had a lot of interviews with a lot of the Power Rangers, but you've had
yeah,
a lot of interviews with Star Wars people.
yeah, yeah.
So talk
That's
about that for a minute. Who you've interviewed for people that
sure.
don't know, and
Yeah,
kind of how that came about.
yeah. So and it's funny you say that, because I'm actually pretty proud, I could say. There's a big show here in San Antonio, Big Tech's Comic Con, and that was last October. It happens every October. And so that was one of the first shows here locally that I sort of applied to by myself,
Hmm,
like without sort of, guidance or help from the group. It was just me. I was like, you know what, this show looks good. I'm just gonna apply for it, right?
yep,
And I was sort of hitting up the promoter and stuff. I got the media pass, which is awesome, because not everybody got it apparently. And so Emily Swallow and Tate Fletcher were here, both from Mandalorian. Um, so I got to interview both of them at that show, which was, very, very cool. Tate is amazing. Like, he is kind of like a real life Mando, actually. Like, the dude
nice.
is kind of like his mentality, like he's sort of the way he goes through life. Like, it's kind of Mando like. Emily was super, super sweet, super nice, but the strike was still going on at that time.
Oh, that doesn't help.
So exactly. So she's like,
That's rough.
"Hey, I'm all for it. I would love to do the interview right now, um, but right, we can't really talk about anything like any show, any movie related, right? Past, present, or future. Um, yeah. So I was like, and I'll be honest with you, like at that moment, when she said that, in my mind, I'm like, well, then what am
What
I
am I going to
doing, right?
ask
Like,
you?
yeah,
Right.
exactly. Like, why am I even bothering? But
Right.
again, I sort of try to think about it the other way. I'm like, okay, I don't know when the next, or if a next time will come my way, right? Like, if she's gonna be here in another con, after back then we didn't know when the strike was gonna end, right? So I was like, what if this keeps going for another year or so? What if she doesn't want to come back to San Antonio? Like, yeah, I started just thinking about, okay, we're here now. She just said yes, right? Like, why not, try to make the best of it. So if it was that interview, it's a little bit funky because it's like, oh, how do you like San Antonio? Like,
You gotta stick with the really basic question.
exactly. Yeah, like, just like, oh,
Yeah,
how do you like the food? Like, all
right,
that, like,
right.
rando, like, super mild stuff, right?
Have you been on the Riverwalk?
But yeah, exactly, right? Like, and it was funny because she was trying to ask people in Texas what was better, In and Out or Whataburger, and I was like, "How's that turning out for you?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, no, I learned my lesson. I'm
Yeah,
never
don't do
asking
that.
that again." Yeah.
Don't ask that question.
So yeah, so that was kind of funny, because she had just posted that like that morning, and so I was picking on her about that. But like, what I'm trying to say is, like, the interview was not, hey, what does it feel like to be, the armorer, and like, how's the suit, and did you steal anything from the set, like the stuff that I wanted to ask, right?
Right, right.
But again, I had a lot of fun at that show. Um, it was a little bit funny because I sort of went in on Friday and tried to do my stuff, for the channel, and then on Sunday I took my kid to the show, but just to hang out and just to walk the show and stuff. I didn't really film anything. Like, I took a few pictures. That was about it. Like, I wasn't in my General Kenobi sort of like
Right, right, right. Yeah.
headspace, right?
You're in dad mode. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
But funny enough, we walked through the aisle of where the guests are, the actors and stuff. And Tate is like, "Hey man, how's it going?" Like, from a little bit afar. And I was like, "Oh shit!" Like, first of all, he recognized me, right? And second, like, "Hey man, what's going on?" He's like, "Ah, good to see you. Is this your son?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Hey, come here. How's it going, man?" And all that, and you know, 30-second interaction, but super super nice, right?
Oh yeah.
Something he definitely didn't have to do. Emily was packed to, like, her line was kind of nuts. But her agent, just waved, like, also from afar, because they were very close by. And so I was like, hey, and that was it, right? But then, I bumped into another YouTube guy, here from San Antonio. I bumped into a couple guys that do podcasting, and one of the very actually talented artist here in San Antonio. He makes a lot of the dioramas for the 1/6 scale Hot Toys. Legacy Custom Arts dioramas. His name was escaping me. He's here, and he actually had a booth at the show, and so I went to say hi, and he's like, "Oh, how's it going?" All that. Anyway, but the point is, by the end of it, my kid was like, "Why do people know you? Like, why? Like, what's going on?"
Why are you famous?
Yeah, exactly. He's like, why people kept saying hi to you and stuff. And then so I was trying to explain, right? Like, oh, this guy's, we met from YouTube.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
guy's,
yeah,
we did a
yeah,
podcast.
yeah.
That's the actor, that does this stuff on TV, and I talked to him on Friday. So, like, that kind of stuff, right?
Right.
But I think it was kind of like the first time where he's like, huh, like, do people actually watch you? Like, sometimes, like, I think, like I said, I think that was kind of the first time where it sort of clicked for him.
Yeah, that's awesome too. It's
Yeah.
so cool when the kids do that. I
Oh yeah.
remember it was the same thing for me, and nowhere on your level, obviously, but somebody noticed me in the store,
Nice.
and it wasn't hey Chris, it was Yukon Phil, and I'm like,
Yes. Nice.
they're like, oh my god, you're like a
Yeah.
celebrity. I'm like,
I love that.
no,
Yeah.
not at all.
Yeah.
But I think
Um,
the going back to your thing with Emily,
yeah,
the cool thing about that, the positive thing I think you could take from that is you got to ask questions that probably most people wouldn't do, like more
exactly.
personal questions, like how did you get into this and blah blah blah, and
Yeah.
all that stuff. So I think that's a positive for that.
Yeah, and it definitely was it was good practice, right? If nothing else. Because like I said, I think Emily and Tate are just about the highest profile people that I've interviewed so
Mhm,
far, right?
mhm.
When it comes to cast members, right? Um Again, both of them, recurring characters, both of them very well known characters, within the Mandalorian mythos. And then past Vizsla had just been killed off. Spoilers, by the way. Sorry.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, in season 3. And so he would, like, his character was, of course, still getting a lot of attention, a lot of recognition. But yeah, so it forced me to come up with questions, like you said, not the regular stuff, right? Like, not the stuff that everybody sort of expected. So yeah, it was definitely a positive. Like I said, if nothing else, it was a good experience. And like I said, she was super nice
Yep.
about it. Like, it was just that hiccup, right? Like that speed
Oh yeah.
bump with
I mean, that'll really test you as an interviewer to
oh
see,
yeah,
can I come up with something that I wouldn't normally ask or that
exactly.
someone else wouldn't normally ask? That's tough stuff. So man, that's awesome. Great job.
Yep. Yeah.
All right, let's get to a couple comments here real
Sure.
ck. You'll get there. We'll keep on helping. That is
Yeah,
an
I appreciate that,
absolute
brother. Thank you.
for sure. Do amazing content, general, informative, well spoken, and
Hey,
engaging. I'm not a Star Wars guy, and I love the high ground.
hey, I appreciate that, Chris. Thank you.
Absolutely. And Tony says he sleeps once a month.
There you go. And I think he's being,
He's being
generous with
generous.
that. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
exactly.
yeah, 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 yeah. Let's see if we got it. Okay, question for both of us. What's the oddball piece in your collection? If you have one, the one that just doesn't belong. I'll let you go first.
Oof. Um, I don't know. I'm all over the place sometimes, with the collection. But let me think. Let me think. What would that be? Uh, I don't know if it counts as part of. I mean, it is part of the collection. Like it's in here, but I don't know if it counts because I didn't really buy it. Like it was a gift. It's a couple of Playmobil
Go.
farmers.
Well, there you go. That's
Yeah,
oddball.
which is kind of oddball. Like if you see them on my shelf and you're like, why?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But actually, the story is that's actually a present for my first birthday, like ever,
Oh,
for my one
oh,
year,
nice,
birthday. So I've
nice.
had those literally just about all my life.
That's cool.
So they've gone through hell and back, and but no, they're still here. So like I said, people ask me about those, like when they see the shelves, they're like, we kind of get the other stuff, we're gonna get kind of get the Battlestar Galactica and that kind of stuff. But what about those little guys?
Right, right,
And
right.
so
Yeah,
I feel that's kind of an oddball, when you see them.
yeah. Mine's Elf.
Nice.
I mean,
Yeah, but that
he
figure, man,
doesn't
come on.
figures fantastic. He was actually
Yes.
my favorite figure last year,
Yep.
and yeah, I mean, he doesn't fit in with any of this stuff, but
Sure.
when I saw NECA was making an Alf, that's
No, yeah.
it took me like 2 months to find that too. So that
It was
was a
popular, yeah,
that was a must
for
buy
sure.
for me. So yeah, absolutely. I forgot to welcome in Dre. Dre, what's up, buddy? Good to have you
Hey,
here.
Andre.
We got Viper's Pit. Good to see you.
Hey.
We got Chris.
Oh, snap.
Who's winning the Super Bowl? I haven't watched baseball in a long time.
Love it. I love that.
Hilarious, man. Oh, let's see if we get it. Okay. Sir Patrick Stewart Paramount commercial. Great. I haven't seen that
Ooh,
one yet, but I did see a couple of previews of that. They look pretty good.
nice.
Pretty good. What about your Monster High collection, General?
That is not in here right now.
It's not in there. We don't talk about that, man. Come
Exactly.
on.
I told you that in
Uh,
confidence, man.
right. Killer Clown Mago is mine.
Oh, nice.
Wow. Nice, nice. Elf's awesome. Yes, Elf is
Awesome.
awesome.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, man. Well, how do you feel about the interview process? Obviously, you do it on the high ground all the time, but was it a little different? Doing it like on almost a panel kind of thing in front of a live crowd. Was that nerve wracking, or were you
Oh,
usual
yeah.
cool as a cucumber?
No, I
Huh?
mean, it's funny you say that because I keep going back. So my first live panel, right, was with Daniel Logan, who plays
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
young Boba Fett, or who did play young Boba Fett,
Yep.
and then a couple of ladies that have played Jawas and other like aliens, right, like background in the pretty much in all the shows actually from Disney Plus. And one of them is Joe's best friend, Susanna Malik. She was there, and but same thing, dude. That damn strike. So
Catch you on that one too, huh?
yeah, they had just started like a week before, and so we go into the con. We had like a little booth, like with free giveaways and promoting the channels and all that stuff, right? But like I said, we were involved. Like Daniel had something like 3 panels. I forget right now how many. I had one, which was of course the Star Wars people, and then as soon as we get to the show, the showrunner is basically saying us like, hey, I'll be honest with you, I don't know if it's even going to happen.
Oh,
They're kind of scared. They don't know where this is going, in terms of the strike and stuff. Anyway, mine was on Saturday, I think. So that was Friday. So I was like, all right, well, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen, right? I mean, not much we can do. Saturday rolls around, more people show up, and the I guess the time that was slotted for the panel comes around, and the showrunner comes like running. He's like, "Hey, yeah, they do want to do it, um, but but they can't talk about anything. You can't really ask them questions, about Star Wars, right? Like directly. We cannot take pictures. We cannot film it. Um, we can't take audience questions, which to me that was like half of the show or half of the panel, right? Like I was like,
Right.
oh, I just got to get through like 30 minutes, and then the people will take over, right, and give me the content. They're like, nope, we can't do that. Um,
Hey, man.
and so I was like, and again, right, I was like, dude, I was about to bow out. I'm like, hey, why are we even doing it, right?
Right. Right.
But same thing, I was like, well, nobody's taping it, like nobody's allowed to it.
There's
So
no proof it
if
happened.
exactly, if I look like a dumbass up there,
Right.
only the people here know, right?
Right.
So, so I was like, hey, why not? Let's
Yeah,
let's
why not?
do it. And so it was kind of funny because um they're like, hey, you can't really like ask us, questions like directly. And they're like, we can kind of talk about what we've done, right? But and I was like, okay, well, how can I not ask you and yet still kind of get that, from you? So I came up with this like sort of very roundabout way saying, if I was in a Star Wars show, I would be stealing, like lightsabers left and right, right?
Right.
Um, what about you guys? Like, and they'll be like, oh, and they would sort of go off like that, right? Like, oh, I try to steal whatever, a prop, and that didn't really work out, and like that kind of stuff. So it kind of got, again, it was funky, because very, very roundabout way. Um, one of the ladies kept calling out people in the crowd that had their cell phones out.
Oh.
So every few minutes, she's like, hey, you, like, put it away. They told you not to film. And I was like, oh my lord, like. And I was like, okay,
Man.
they were, like I said, they were just being very cautious, right? They were kind of scared, not knowing what was going on. Um, Daniel was great, like he didn't particularly care too much. Um, but that, so we got through the panel. It was like a 45-minute panel. I was like, okay, I'm kind of done. Like I can't fill an hour without no
Right.
questions and no audience, like
Yeah.
interaction. Um, so it helped that Susanna Malik is like, she just goes on and on. So like half the show it was just her talking. Um, but to answer your question, I was nervous because of that, because in my mind I had already said like it's just not gonna happen, so
Mhm.
I was kind of out of that headspace that, hey, I need to go up there and do this stuff. And all of a sudden they're like, no, it's happening, and it's happening in 5 minutes, like type of thing. So I was like, oh, and by the way, you got all these laundry list of rules that you can't, or that you have to abide by, right? So it was, again, it was just interesting experience. I'm thankful for it, definitely, because again, it wasn't only my first live panel. It was my first live panel with like a bunch of restrictions on it.
Right.
So
Right.
hell of a first time. but
It hasn't
but
scared you away though, right? You're still
yeah,
gonna keep
exactly. So
doing it.
I'm
Yeah.
still, I'm still up for it. There's a few cons that I would definitely love to be involved with. um and so I'm still, now I'm a little bit more, I could say confident, I guess, in just maybe reaching out and being like, hey guys, if you need, somebody for a panel, like I could help you out, put it together, moderate it, all that stuff. So that's definitely not something I would have done, honestly, even a year ago. Like I'd have been like, yeah, no, that's not me.
Yeah. Well, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but I think being on YouTube really gives you the confidence to do that and gives you the tools you need to, then go and, interview someone in front of a live audience. And man, when you got
Yeah,
not much to work with, that's a real test
yeah, it
for
was,
anybody,
like I said, it
So,
was funky, man, for sure. But
yeah.
hey, good experience, right? I mean, at the end of it all, it's an experience.
Yep.
um Thanks, man.
Make it out here, man.
um but yeah, so it was, like I said, I keep referring to it because yeah, it was a funky time, man. It was a weird time for a lot of the interview like space, but it was good. Like I said, I definitely would like to do it again. And if I may so brag, here, that night we bumped into a lot of the guests at a restaurant. They were just hanging out, and so I actually got to smoke a cigar with young Boba Fett, with Daniel
Oh
Logan.
wow,
So
nice, man,
that was
nice.
pretty cool.
That's
That was
cool.
a
That's
cool
very
experience.
cool.
The dude is very chill, very, very cool. So yeah, that was, that was
Nice.
after that panel, that night. So he
I
remembered
still
me obviously from the panel.
I still imagine him as a kid, so it's kind of hard to
Right?
imagine
Yeah.
you guys smoking a cigar with him.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, is that legal? It is
Yeah,
here.
right.
Don't worry.
Nice, man. Nice, nice. That's very cool.
Yeah.
So with your channel, what is your favorite part right now? What part do you like the most, and what part do you like the least?
Sure. So the part that I like the most, it's always easy. I keep bringing it up. It's this. It's right here. It's hanging out, like-minded individuals. It's the chat. Which, by the way, the chat is on fire tonight. So I appreciate each and every single one of you not caring about baseball tonight and coming over here and chatting with us. So thank you.
Yep.
That's it's just fun, right? I've done it, and you've seen it. I started doing a little bit more live streams, um, but it's a lot of times kind of hard to schedule them, like twice a week,
Oh
or
yeah.
something like that.
Oh yeah.
So I'll try to do the high ground, which is I would say my more established one, right, or the one I've been doing longest on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Central. By the way, there you go, Archer. I like that. But then I'll do, like, like for example tomorrow, I might do one. And it's usually just like a pop up. I'll give you guys like 30-minute notice and stuff, but people still show up. Like there's still people in the chat, commenting and joining and stuff. So I find that to be like it's an honor to me. Like it makes me feel like I'm not just speaking out there into the ether and like nobody listens, right?
Right. Talking to
um
yourself.
so yeah, exactly. And so that always makes me feel obviously very, very good. And I appreciate each and every single one that shows up, right? Even if it's two or three, like I don't care. Like if somebody shows up, that's a win for me.
Which you never have a problem with, because every time I tune into one of your lives, you got like 25 or 30. So, don't be
Yeah.
modest, man.
No, I wish there's been a few that I'm like, okay, there's
There's
single
nobody here.
digits and dropping,
Right.
but
Right.
it's
Right.
fine. Like I said, if I have one, I feel I'm okay, right?
Exactly.
There's been
Exactly.
some that there's zero, at the beginning or in the middle, stuff like that, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. It's a weird time or whatever. But yeah, no. So like I said, I appreciate that, and that's honestly, the sense of community, I guess, of belonging to a community. That's what I've loved about doing YouTube. Now, the for the not, the stuff that I don't particularly enjoy that much is sometimes like that. Sometimes I wish I could I don't know what you would call it, maybe be more organized or just have my stuff more on lockdown in life and be like, hey,
It's
I know
tough.
that tomorrow at 8 p.m. I can stream,
Mhm.
like every week I'll be able to do it. And it's honestly, it's just not the case, like it's just sometimes, stuff happens or
Yep.
things
Yep.
pop up, or honestly, like sometimes, you just don't feel like it, right? You've had a crummy day and you're like, you know what? I don't want to show my face. Like
Absolutely, man. I'm right there
it
with
just
you.
kind of happens,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Um, and so that how do you call it? Those are my kind of like, yeah, like kind of like what I wish I had a better control of, or I don't know, maybe better mentality about it, right? Better strategy of managing time, like that kind of stuff, right? Like I just kind of wish I was a lot more disciplined in creating content. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. Well, it's tough. A lot of people say this, and I think you and I talked about this before too. Life comes first.
Yeah.
YouTube comes second. We both have kids. We both have young kids,
Yep.
and it's like they come first. Wife
Oh
comes
yeah.
first. This is kind of secondary. And then I'm with you. There's times I'm like, the last freaking thing I want to do is do a video right now. That's
Yep.
like the last thing. But it's hard to be consistent. It's hard to
Oh
be
yeah.
consistent with this stuff, and there's times when I say I'm on a schedule and I don't want to do it. I was like, well, I still got to do something to kind of follow through. You almost have like an obligation.
Oh yeah.
There's times
No,
I
I
want to
agree.
take a 2 or 3 week layover and
Yeah,
not do any of
absolutely.
this, but it's like, man, I know I'm going to be getting messages. Where the hell are you? You dead? What's this? What's that? And I'm like,
Yeah.
shit, it's just easier to do it.
Yeah.
you know.
No, I hear
So
you.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
just one of those
absolutely.
things.
It's there's been a few times like that. Like I said, now I'm trying to make it to, like you said, I'm trying to make it where I just show up anyway.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
even if it's just not whatever, not the greatest day, or I'm not, or I think I'm not up to it. Um, the most what I have sort of been noticing the last few times that I kind of forced myself, let's call it, to do that, is that once we get sort of like, the energy going, with the chat, and with BSing about another Hasbro mess up, and all that stuff, like you just kind of get into it again.
Right,
And,
right.
again, you kind of get out of the funk a little bit, like you start feeling a little bit better, you engage with a little bit more with the chat and stuff like that. And I found out that by the end of it, if it's a whatever, an hour stream, I kind of feel like, okay, I don't feel nearly as bad as I did, or nearly as tired or angry or whatever it was, before I started the stream. So
Yeah, no, it's true. It's
um
almost like therapy, you
exactly,
know?
yeah,
Yeah,
very much
yeah.
so,
Oh, I'm
very
with
much
you.
so.
Because there's times, today wasn't one of those days, but there's been times on Yak with you, and I'm like, it wasn't the guest, it was me. I'm like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I'm tired. I've
absolutely,
been doing shit all day. The last thing I want to do is go try to think of a bunch of questions in my head as we're going along and do
absolutely,
this. But by the time it's done, you're
yeah,
like, oh man, I'm so glad I did that. I'm so
exactly,
glad I was able to not only fulfill the commitment, but the audience. Again, it's kind of an obligation.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I've been taking a lot of time off lately. It's nice. Channel is dead for views, but that's okay. I needed the break, man. Don't sell yourself short, man. You do good. We talked about that
yeah.
last week with him, and Chris is doing great. It's one of those things, dude, where
No, absolutely.
don't
And
get don't
I
get
think,
obsessed. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Don't I wouldn't say that anything's like permanent, even if you kind of
All
feel that
right.
it is.
Right. Right.
And also, again, and maybe this needs to be said more. It's totally okay to say, you know what, I'm kind of done for a while, right?
It's true. It's true.
You always want to put yourself and your family first, right? So if in your headspace you're not quite, happy with the things are going, maybe YouTube is taking a little more time out of family time, and that's not doing great. Um, it is completely okay to say, hey, you know what, guys, I'm kind of done for a little while, right? I'm
Yeah.
kind of taking a step back. I'll take X amount of time. I don't even care how much, right? And you get your headspace right, and you do right by your family, and you'll come back, energized, like re-energized, like so.
Oh yeah.
Don't feel
Yep.
bad. Again, it's I think we've kind of fallen into the rhythm of like the bigger YouTubers, right? The guys that post 3-4 times a day and all that
Oh yeah.
stuff,
Oh
and
yeah.
it's their life, right? Like it literally defines their life. I don't know that I even want to attempt to get at that at that level, you
No.
know.
No. No. I'm with you on that.
And so it's important to say that, hey, it's okay if you're tired, right? It's okay if maybe your mental health is not um, where you feel it should be, to accomplish putting out the content you want. So if it's not helping, if YouTube is not helping, don't do it, right?
Don't do it.
Plain and
Yeah.
simple.
Yeah. It should be a release, not a
Exactly.
briner of more stress
Yep.
and something that's worrying you and everything like that. It's
Yep.
if it's doing that, man, walk away.
Yeah,
That's the
exactly.
best thing.
Yep.
I did have one more question I wanted to
Sure.
ask you, and then I'll let you plug your stuff. But so on the high ground, you do a good mix of sometimes you have guests and
Yeah.
sometimes it's just you. Which one do you feel more comfortable with? Do you feel more comfortable when you have a guest, or do you feel more comfortable when you're just interacting with the chat?
So, if and well, I told you this in the background, but that is definitely something that I've respect you for quite a bit. Is having a pretty much a guest every show,
It's not easy,
for
man.
you, because it is not easy. Okay,
Nope.
anybody that has attempted it, can tell you, hands down, yeah, it's definitely not easy. So I do like to do a mix, because sometimes, quite honestly, there's just not much going on, right, with
Yeah.
Star
Yeah.
Wars. There's periods that there might be a comic book coming out here and there or something like that, and then that's it, right? Like no new figures, no news, no movies, no shows. So you're like, dang, dude, like that. I don't know what to talk about, for an
Right.
hour.
Right.
Like,
Right.
like what am I gonna say, Um, and I and me, I always try to also reach out, to members of the community, especially some that are maybe not yet as well known, or they
Yeah.
just started the channel, um, and I like to sort of bring them in, and make them maybe a little bit known to our community, all that kind of stuff, right? And it's always interesting to talk to them at the beginning, right? And then you catch up with them in a year, and you're like, hey man, did this go the thing, the way you
Oh yeah.
thought it was gonna, right? Like that
See how
kind of
they
stuff.
progressed. Yeah.
Exactly. And so I'm to me, let's put it this way. To me, it's a little bit easier to fill 1 hour when I have a guest.
Definitely.
Like it
Definitely.
just kind of flows a lot easier. I don't have to think about talking like constantly. Uh, it's just one of those things that I get nervous when there's like dead air, like like just silence, on the stream, and I'm always trying to just be saying something. Now, unfortunately, that has led me to my mouth running faster than my brain, but those are fun too. But it does happen.
Oh yeah, I mean it's not easy. I tell a lot of people this, and I don't know how you guys do it. I don't know how you guys sit there and just talk to the camera. I mean, you're obviously talking to the chat, but just talking to the camera
Yeah,
for an hour. I mean, you do a good job with the news and stuff, but when the news is slow, like you said,
yeah.
it's tough, man. You're sitting
It's
there and you're just like, what the
Oh
hell am I
yeah.
going to say next? What the hell am I going
It,
to say next? And
it was
it's
what
like
was it?
20 minutes in.
Dude, exactly. I was just gonna say it was. Yeah, I think it was the first stream back this year. Had well, I told you I got sick over the holidays and all
Yeah,
that, so I didn't get nearly as much rest as I thought I was gonna. Anyway, uh, I do the first live stream, right, and I'm like, all right, let's get back into the groove of things. Let's just do this. And dude, I was exhausted. Like I
oh
was
yeah,
so tired. My mouth was like incredibly dry. I could, I was tripping over my words. And I look up into the counter right here on StreamYard, and it's like, oh, 22 minutes. I was like, what? Like, are you serious right now?
mm,
And I was like, like, maybe I'll just do 30 minutes. Like, I don't even
right,
care.
right. Just cut it short. Cut it short. Pace yourself,
Exactly.
man.
Yeah.
Go back
And
into it
so,
easy.
yeah, yeah. And, but again, luckily, and I do think well, we call ourselves now the Bunker Bunch. Uh, I do thank the Bunker Bunch because they started like, hey man, I got this over Christmas. What did you get? And like, just started kind of building off, conversation. So
Right, right.
that definitely helped me. I mean, I think I cut that stream like at 50 minutes because I was like, dude, I am so tired. Like, it
Yeah,
is
I mean,
crazy. Like, yeah. So exactly, it doesn't. It's not always as easy as it may seem, for sure.
you make it look
Um,
easy.
no, I don't know about that. Like I
I think
said,
you
that
do, but
I appreciate that, but like I said, that stream, and I think it was Archer. He texted me like, he was like, "Hey man, good to see you back. I didn't know you were sick and stuff. Like, I'm glad to see you." I was like, "Dude, I'm about to collapse." Like, I was so tired. Like that stream like kicked my butt. Like, I did not expect that at all, dude. Like, yeah, no, like that took me by so. And I was telling him the same thing. I was like, "Dude, I look up and it's like barely 20 minutes." And I'm like, dude, oh my lord, like I'm gonna quit right now.
it's like you don't want to see him pass out on the middle of the stream.
Exactly, dude. I was so tired. It was kind of nuts.
Feed off the chat, even when it's zero in the chat, man.
Exactly. That's what I was
Been
gonna
there,
say.
done that.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like, oh god, what are we gonna do now?
yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely,
All right,
absolutely.
man. Well, dude, thank you so much for being on the
No,
show.
thank you.
I want you to plug yourself. Tell us what you got on the horizon. Tell us about kind of what's going on this week. Do you have any videos dropping, live streams, and all that stuff, man?
Sure thing. But before I do that, I like to plug a little channel that I've been enjoying for quite a while called Yukon Phil Toy Hunter. Now, in case you haven't noticed, this man is a freaking interview machine. Okay. He's going for the world record of most guests consecutively. I mean, you're what, like 18
Uh,
months, 19 months, like in a row? Like it's
18
kind
months.
of
I think
nuts,
it's
man.
almost 18 months. Yeah.
There you
I
go.
don't think we've ever had one without a guest.
There you go. That's what I'm
No, I
saying.
haven't.
I
I
don't think
haven't.
I've.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Which is, and even if you've had, even if you've done three, that's still like
Right.
incredibly impressive. So my hats off to you. And I've seen you progress. From when you started yakking with Yukon, right, to now, and I think you are a lot more comfortable, in this sort of space, right? I think the people notice that you're more comfortable, which is always a good thing.
Yeah.
And so the chat, always reacts to that. The guests, of course, always react to that.
Yeah.
So I've seen, plenty of guests come through here and say, "Hey man, like good job, on the interview, like this was fun." I'm sure they've told you, behind the scenes the
Oh,
same
yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
So I just want to say congrats, dude. Like I
Thanks,
said,
man.
your consistency is inspiring, to be honest. Because yeah, not it's again, we've talked about it plenty, but it's not easy, like at
No,
all.
no.
So my hats off to you, man. Congrats on getting
Thanks, man.
monetized. I think you were not
Appreciate that.
monetized the last time we talked. Well, here officially, of course, on the live stream. So congrats on that too. Like I said, I'm still kind of struggling with that one, but we'll get there eventually. And so thank you for having me, first of all. And like I said,
Yeah.
congratulations on just growing in such a short amount of time, dude. Like honestly,
Yeah.
so
It's all you
congrats.
guys, man. I mean, it's people that I can only ask yes, but people got to say yes. So I mean, people like you and all the guys in the chat, it's all you guys. But I appreciate that, man. I really
Yeah,
appreciate
yeah,
it. Thank
absolutely.
you very much. Thank you.
And so now let's move on to the plugs.
Let's go.
Okay. So here on YouTube, General Kenobi's Bunker. If you check us out, we like to do toy hunting. We do live streams every Wednesday around 8 p.m. Central. We do, like we said, we do solo shows. We do have guests sometimes. We like to talk about Star Wars, obviously. But I'm also trying to do a second show every week called the Toy Talk, where we honestly just, we talk toys. If there's toy news, sometimes I'll go back and talk about, some of the other lines that I collect, that kind of stuff. So it's mainly, plastic driven conversation. And so check us out. We usually try to do that one on Monday. Uh, Time varies a little bit, so just stick around. And for that, I would greatly appreciate it if you follow me on um, Instagram at general.kenobis.bunker. Also, check us out on TikTok at general_kenobis_bunker. And the one that I'm trying to grow a lot, so I would really, really appreciate if you guys check it out, is Facebook. The Facebook page is General Kenobi's Bunker. If you look for that, you'll see my little logo, all of that. So make sure that you're following me there too. I've been trying to post different stuff over there to try to create, a little bit more traction, a little bit more of a community over there. It's honestly, it's a site that I created a long time ago, and I just kind of never did anything with it. So I'm trying to pick that up again and grow it. So I would appreciate it if you guys check us out. In terms of videos, we'll have a toy hunt sometime this week. Still not quite there with the footage. And like I said, a couple live streams, probably one tomorrow night, one definitely on Wednesday around 8 p.m. Central.
Nice, man. One more question with your live streams. Are they streamed to any other platform besides YouTube?
So I've been trying to stream, well, of course, YouTube,
Mhm.
Facebook,
Okay.
and I just started doing Instagram. I'm still
Okay.
not very, how can I say it, acquainted with like the controls on Instagram. So it's just sort of like a restream type of thing into Instagram. I have a little bit of hard time with because I can't read the chat like we can here.
All right.
So I sort of have to go back and forth, to Streamyard, Instagram, like that kind of stuff. It'd be nice. I'm sure eventually they'll sort of streamline it and have a better interface, but for now it's a little bit clunky that way.
Yeah.
But like I said, I have been trying to do on Instagram as well.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, thank you again, man. Really
No, thank
appreciate it.
you.
You're always welcome. You know that. I've told you that before. So always,
Thanks.
man. But guys in the chat, thank you so much for joining in. I know it's the stupid Super Bowl, but this was a much better show than that. Who cares who's winning? We don't.
Yeah, I was gonna
Next
say
week, yeah, I don't even know. Next week we got Zach Jack Dan.
nice.
That one's taking a little while to get sewn up, but we got it sewn up. He'll be on. And then the week after is Daniel from Legacy Nerd, and then Dre from Collector Safe Space will be on after that. So, like
See
I
what I
said,
mean?
we
Three
still got
three
gas
weeks
coming in.
already, like
3
three
weeks.
weeks already planned out, dude. I don't even know what I'm doing tomorrow, like quite literally.
If
And
you're ever in
so
a
yeah,
bind, let me know, man.
appreciate that.
All right. You guys have a good night. Thank you again, Jose. Appreciate it as always, man. I will see you guys next week. You guys have a good one.
You have a good one.